Hi, welcome to my third life stream retirement vlog, also my musical practice journal, kind of a vlog rather than writing it down. I was thinking about practicing or how I practiced today as I was practicing, and I just got back from a vacation from Long Beach, so I was away from my practice room for a week and not able to do the things I like to do on a regular basis to keep my chops up. So I'm home now, and now I can practice, and that's great. So what am I going to do? And I've kind of gone back to my old routine. But my point is that it's hard to remember this, at least for me, and that's that your learning can stay on a plateau for quite a while before it jumps. So for me, that means I might be playing my B flat major scale 2 octaves on flute at 100 perfectly over and over and over again until makes the jump to where 104 is easier, 108 is easier, 110 or whatever it might be. But it takes a certain amount of discipline to sit on that one exercise and just go over. And as a teacher, I would never tell a student, well, you're going to play that 10,000 times. So get to work, try and get your first 1,000 in today. You just most teachers don't do that because that would not be inspiring. But the deal is often it takes many, many, many more times of repetition to get something better than the student or myself realizes. So I have to go over and over and over. And so it becomes a matter of what standards am I practicing to? How am I going to practice? And how long am I going to sit on an exercise? So, for instance, I'm working on flute. I've got a new head joint that I picked up this last weekend in Long Beach. So, I'm doing exercises, and I really have to kind of go back to basics to relearn where everything is on the head joint. So, I'm sitting on a note, making sure it's in tune, keeping the vibrato steady. These are all things I'm having to relearn because of the head joint, and that's just the price you pay when you make an equipment upgrade. At least for me, when you change equipment, then all of a sudden things change. But my point was in this whole vlog is that you have to. It's kind of like Karate Kid with wax on, wax off. I want big muscles. We'll keep washing the wall. Well, I want big muscles. We'll keep washing the window. And you don't realize that you're building what you want through doing something very repetitive over and over. And that's kind of how it is on both sax and flute and keyboards and singing. And especially on sax, like recently I started doing 1 octave major scales. I haven't done those forever because I've been working on my diminished scale quite a bit. So I've been doing 1 octave major scales, but I've started to kick the metronome up and doing up to 144 for 1 octave, just 16th notes. And doing them every day, I noticed a jump in everything else immediately. So here's the gist of what I'm trying to say here. What I'm trying to say is that oftentimes everything improves by hyper focusing on a small aspect of my playing or your playing. So if I really get my embouchure dialed in on flute or sax to where the response is good, the intonation's good, the attack is good, the tone quality is good. If you get all that together in your embouchure initially, that makes everything else easier. And if you're playing a scale exercise or an arpeggio exercise over and over and over to the point where your hands really get the muscle memory down, that immediately speeds up other things that you haven't worked on. That's my point. So it's really, really good for me to focus in, hyper focus on small areas. And the way I used to practice was I'd cover 4, 5, 7, 8 things, 3 minutes here, 2 minutes here, 3 minutes here, 4 minutes here, and then on. I mean, I had kind of the ADD of practicing. And, I didn't really care where I got. Oh, I'm just practicing and I enjoy playing, whatever. But nowadays, it's like I really want to get some things together and get them done. So I'm actually focusing in on, okay, my end result is I want this. So I'm going to work however hard I have to get to this level. And like I've said in other videos, my playing now is better at 67 and a half than it was in college at 25, with 5 years of college behind me and playing at a level high enough. I was getting professional gigs and I was making money. So I'm very happy seeing progress now, but it's because I've changed how I practice. So today on flute, and in fact, I've even restarted my practice journal. I bought this when I was in Catalina. I remember that I seemed to get a lot more done when I actually chronicled everything I was doing, just like Michael Brecker did and many other great players have done. So I've got my weekly goals. I'm going to write down daily what I'm doing toward hitting those goals. And that's a big deal because it's good to have your short-term, your intermediate goals, but then once in a while you got to say to yourself, well, why am I doing all this? What's the point? And I'm already gigging. I'm already playing in a band steadily. I'm already playing in any other band I want to play in. But for me, next steps, next goals are I've just recorded 3 songs on my extended play, and I've got 4 more I want to, or 3 more I want to record. And 2 of them are going to require considered work on the saxophone. I mean, they're not going to be easy songs. So for me to do them, number one, I'm going to have to practice the heads over and over and over until the heads are so easy they're memorized. And when I go into the studio, I'm relaxed and I can pull them off and not worry about having to take 75 takes to be able to get the head in 1 or 2 takes. Then the second thing is I want to play the next EP that I record at a higher level than the last one. So that means for me better tone on the instruments, better sense of time, um, better control of how I develop a solo as far as going from the beginning statements to the high point of the solo and then back down. That's an area I want to work on. I want to start using more harmonic colors in my solos. So I want to start adding in the diminished scale and the altered scale and the augmented scale and substitute tritones and all that. So those are areas. In fact, I really worked quite a bit lately on going between the minor seven to the flat 6 minor 7 because I think Brecker did that. So you're vacillating between a D minor and a B flat minor. It's a cool sound. And actually, it's also cool to go D minor to A flat 7. It's going back and forth. But these are all skills that I can't just work on. Okay, I'll just play that for 10 minutes in the practice room. Well, that's not going to work because I want to actually record these. I want to be decent at them. So I'm going to have to play them over and over and over and over in different ways, different volumes, different rhythm patterns until the scales and the techniques are ingrained and I can put them in just like I'm, changing colors on a palette, or as easy as just changing, reaching down, taking one thing and picking it up, putting it out and grabbing something else. It's got to be that easy. It can't require thought because once you're in the situation where you're performing, the minute you have to think about something, it kind of you lose your sense of where you're at. And you lose your sense of being in the moment with the music, which is important, especially since I'm paying for it. So that's important to me. Anyway, so my focus in practicing is to do things at a higher level and really sit. My title was it's not what, it's how. So let's say I'm playing my 1 octave major scale, a D major scale on the alto. So it's not so much just playing it through and go, okay, now what's the next scale? It's taking it and saying, okay, yesterday it was 80 accurate, meaning 4 or 5 times perfect. Let's see if I get 84. Let's go 88. Let's go 92. Let's go 100. End game for me, probably in this particular situation, is 120 or 144. So, can I get it to where it's that accurate, that even? And it's not, for me, it's not a competition. I'm not competing against the guy in the next practice room for grades or for being in the first band. And I'm not competing against local people in town for gigs because most of that's just not part of my reality at this point. So I'm not really competing against anybody except my sense of who I am and where I think my talent is possible, what I think I can do, bottom line. So I have an idea that I can, and it's hard to visualize this. It's hard to even mentalize it to get in your head because how do you visualize something you've never done before or a feeling you never had before? And yet I've had that happen when I'm practicing and I'm playing, realizing this is the best I've ever played and it feels really nice. I didn't realize what that feeling would be like until I hit that. And then you get on a plateau for a while and you go, well, I guess I'll never get any better. And then you make the jump. But it is, so what I'm saying is you have to kind of go by discipline as opposed to good or bad. You have to have the discipline to say, okay, I'm going to do this over and over and over until it gets extremely easy. And then I know I'm going to improve in ways that I can't even imagine at this point in my level. So that's my point. I mean, that's a cool feeling, and that's happened to me a couple times where I've gone, "Wow, I didn't know I could play this well." And I don't mean it's fantastic. I'm in the gray area between the guy's terrible and the guy's amazing. I'm in that gray area between that. I'm a decent player. So, but it's fun to do that. And like I said, I'm not competing. There's no one to compete against. I'm not fighting for jobs. I'm not fighting for recognition. I'm just curious, what can I do? How good can I play? Where is my top? What can I do better? What can I create between now and at 67? At some point, my skill level is going to go down. My ability to play is going to go down. So, what can I get done in this period of time? So that's where I'm at, and it's exciting. It's fun. Yeah, I have passion. I enjoy it. I wake up in the morning and I'm and I'm raring to go. Let's see what we can do today. And luckily, especially with vocals and keyboards, I've seen a lot of progress over the last couple of years. And that's because you see much more progress in the initial stages of anything. And then later on, it becomes a much less steep grade. You see a little progress, little progress, little progress. And I have help. I have teachers on flute and sax and vocals and keys. And also, I have a guy that helps me with compositions and also a second opinion on saxophone stuff. So I engage help along the way, and that's probably if I have one lack, that's one area I would probably do well to do is to play with a lot of other musicians just to kind of open my vistas and broaden my horizons on what's out there. All right, so that's what's going on today in the Keith Sachs world. This is Monday, April 4th, 2022. All right, so I hope you guys are having a wonderful time. And that's where I'm at. I'm in the midst of practicing and I'm making those hard decisions. How long am I willing to work on something and what level what's the level that I absolutely am going to work on it until it's done? All right, take care. Bye.